Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Greeting to everyone. So I would like to present my research topic, which is a promising effect of virtual reality on sport performance, interaction between cognitive ability and physiological responses. So we have 7 outlines in this presentation. We have an introduction, problem statement, and then we have an objective, literature review, methodology, results, and the last one is the discussion and conclusion. First, in the introduction, because of this study, we'll get involved a lot with the cognitive ability. So we will define cognitive ability as the capacity of an individual to adapt with different situations of or environment. Meanwhile, VR modulates the physiological responses associated with cognitive ability in demanding tasks. So virtual reality will works as a platform to modulate the physiological responses that will associated with the cognitive ability during the demanding task. So from the problem statements, basically in road cycling, this event is inherently dealing with uncertain environment as cyclists need to respond with competitive action, varied terrain and environment. So in order for the cyclists to respond, have a well response with the competitors action, varied terrain and the environment, they need to have a good cognitive ability, good reasoning. So they should be able to react very well. So the objective of this study is intends to compare high and low cognitive performance with physiological function during task complexity of road cycling in the virtual reality. So we wanted to know the significance, how the significance between how high and low response with the physiological function during the task complexity. So in this research, we have a task difficulty because of we developed the task difficulty in the VR environment. So we wanted to know the interaction high and low with the physiological responses in the VR environment. So they have a lot of concept application in the VR environment in sports, and then they have a lot of factors such as the task, virtual reality display, the users, the simulated environment, and the present of others. So these factors actually will contribute to the factors in here will contribute to the different responses from the psychology, performance, physiological. So they also have different outcomes in terms of the short term or long term exposure to the simulation environment. And VR also allow the study of relationship between visual processing and action, as this is related to performance. So because of visual processing have much to do with how the individual able to interpret what they see or what they perceive in their environment. VR also can control and standardize situation or task or environment and focus on specific skills, as it can facilitate and improve sport skills related to perception action. This is something to do that we can actually control the environment. We can control the environment that we want. We can determine the environment that we want. Because of sometimes there is a barriers to training in the actual environment, so we can simulate the environment, the real environment in the VR. So we can evaluate them, we can predict their performance in the VR environment. And then the effectiveness of VR depends on the user's presence in the simulated environment, as this was also studied in terms of psychological and physiological indicators. This kind of studies have a lot of contributes to the effect of the VR itself on the psychological and physiological indicators. So if they develop VR This is basic indicators that they wanted to know. Okay. The effect of VR contributes in providing simulation environment to induce the presence of competitors towards various parameters such as attention. So because of in sports, it involved the competitors. So we also wanted to know actually what happened in their perception, what happened in their attention, what happened in their cognitive in the actual environment. So we can simulate the actual environment with inducing the competitors. But there is still need to create and design to fully interactive visual environment, visual reality. So because of there is a lot of issues that the VR is not interacted with the human. So there is a lot of things to do to create and design that are fully interactive. Okay, that the users can actually interact very well with the virtual reality. So in the methodology, we have 12 trained cyclists from the national sports schools. So this is the basic material. EEG, basically we will measure the neural activity, standard road bike for the cyclist, heart rate monitor, pedal force sensor to evaluate the power output, cadence sensor to evaluate the cadence, text smart trainer system is a hardware that actually interacted with the immersive VR with the computer system. And we also have front screen immersive virtual reality that actually is the whole system of the VR environment with the computer system. And we have three phases for this study. The first one is we need to develop the content of task difficulty. The task difficulty, we have five different level of task difficulty. So the task is the 5 different level. Okay, and then the cognitive ability we measure based on the cognitive intelligence, Raven's standards progressive matrices. This is actually will evaluate the reasoning, abstract reasoning. And then the last phase is experimental task in the VR environment. So we will evaluate the neural activity, brain activity, power output, heart rate, and the cadence. So this is phase 1. We develop 5 different level of task difficulty. We have 5 different environment. And then in the phase 2, we have, this is the example of the IQ test. So they need to have a good reasoning, which actually involve on the working memory. Okay, so the working memory actually is a combination of the memory and the problem solving ability in the real environment. Okay, in the actual time. Okay, in the real time. So they have 3 elements in this IQ test. They have a match problem, figural problem, analytical problem. So this problem actually can be found in for the cyclists. They have match problems, how they want to match with the size. Okay, figural, if they know how many distance the left, they can figure out things. Okay, analytical problems based on the maybe based on this distance and the energy left that they have. Okay, so in the phase 3, they have a warm up, and then they will go through to the sequence of task 1. Task 1 will be the most easiest task, and task 5 will be the most difficult task. So this is actually developed by our 3 experts. And okay. And then this is individuating for the level of task difficulty. Basically, we can see that they have a difference individual, how the individual ratings for the task 3. Okay, for the high IQ group, they have they perceive the task difficulty in medium level as easier compared to low IQ group. Okay, they also perceive the task 3, the medium level, as easier compared to the task 2. Okay, and then this one, comparison between high and low IQ group. So definitely they have a significant difference between the high and IQ group, because we already divided them Okay, so the next one is the comparison high IQ and low IQ group for physiological function in 5 different levels of task difficulty. So from this result, we can see that alpha beta ratio, which is represent for the neural activity, um, they have a significant difference, high IQ and low IQ group in task in the medium level. So we can also see that almost significant for the individual rating. So those high and low IQ group, they perceive the task tree, which is the medium level, differently. Okay, so this is the figure from the result in the medium level task tree. There is significant difference between high IQ group and low IQ group. All right. So in the discussion, the main contribution in this study shows that high cognitive group perform a high alpha beta ratio compared to low cognitive group during the medium level of task difficulty. It highlights how brain activity represents sensory motor condition triggered with the presence of competitors in the VR environment. Because of in the medium level or in the task tree, we actually induce the competitors. So when there is a competitors, a person with high IQ and a person with low IQ, they have a different kind of cognitive ability based on this result. Okay, we assume that. Okay. So for future study and conclusion, this result suggests further evaluation on the effectiveness of VR on other cognitive, behavioral, and physiological function. So we can see in the details actually what happened in the medium level. We can actually explore what happened to the power output, cadence, how the pattern. Okay, so this is we can study in the next future. All right. So that's all. Thank you for listening my presentation.